Well, hello, my friends. Welcome to Granny B's house. Are you having a good day? Oh, I hope so. Granny B's having a pretty good day. Are you remembering to be kind to those people around you? To treat other people the way you want to be treated? To do little things to make the world a better place? Well, doing all that makes your world a better place too, so keep that in mind. Well, Granny B has a really silly story for you today, and I'm going to try not to get confused by some of these words. This book is called Happy Birthday, Mrs. Millie. So let's get started and see about some of these silly words. Actually, the words aren't silly, it's just the way they use them. All right, look at all these fun pictures. Mrs. Millie is really silly. Every morning at school, she says, "Please hang up your book bugs." We know what she means, though, our book bags. Today is Mrs. Millie's birthday. She is our very special teacher, so we are giving her a party. Won't she be surprised? First, our parents help us decorate the classroom with colorful baboons. Oh, we mean balloons. Next, we set out treats. We have chocolate cupcakes to eat. We think Mrs. Millie will call them cub cakes. We have apple mousse to drink. Mrs. Millie will know that's apple juice. When everything is ready, we turn off the lights and hide behind our desk. Mrs. Millie comes in after lunch and we jump up. "Happy birthday, Mrs. Millie," we shout. "What a surprise," said Mrs. Millie. "I'd almost forgotten that today is my bird day." "You mean your birthday, Mrs. Millie," we giggle. "Look at all the foxes tied up with gibbons," Mrs. Millie tells us. "Don't be silly, Mrs. Millie. You mean the boxes tied up with ribbons," we say. "Are all those pheasants for me?" asked Mrs. Millie. "You mean presents," we shout. "And look, this wonderful cub cake has a camel on it," said Mrs. Millie. "Don't you mean candle?" we ask. "Blow out the candle and make a fish," we yell. Mrs. Millie laughs. "I'd rather make a wish." We sing happy birthday. We give her cards that we made. Mrs. Millie opens her presents. She likes the coffee mug. She likes the hand lotion. She likes the new books. Now it's time for games. "Who wants to play musical bears?" she asked. "Don't be silly, Mrs. Millie. You mean musical chairs." "What a wonderful birthday, Partridge," she says. "Silly, Mrs. Millie. You mean birthday party." "Did you plan this all by yourselves?" she asks. "Well, our parrots helped a little," we say. "Silly children, you mean your parents," said Mrs. Millie. We laugh. Mrs. Millie laughs too. "I have something for each of you," says Mrs. Millie. She gives us shiny pencils that read, "A present from your creature." Silly Mrs. Millie, you mean a present from our teacher. At the end of the day, Mrs. Millie waves goodbye. Thank you for the party, she tells us. I had a very hoppy day. Let's do it again next, dear Mrs. Millie, we say. Oh, how silly is that? We have lots of silly words that sound like other words, and it's kind of fun to pepper them into our conversation once in a while, but they were very kind to Mrs. Millie by planning that birthday party for her. Well, I hope you're remembering to be kind to those people around you. And I hope you're trying your best to make the world a better place. Just like my cat Ed tries to make our world a better place every chance he gets. He doesn't like the camera much, so he never smiles, but he's always happy. He doesn't have a grumpy bone in his body. He just wants to be petted all the time. Well, I hope you're not having a grumpy bone in your body today. And I hope you're remembering to make the world a better place for all the people around you. Okay? Treating other people the way you want to be treated is one way you can make this world a better place. Well, you know Granny B loves you. And Granny B wants you to come back real soon so I can read you another story. Okay? Bye-bye.